Well, just an hour and a half ago, actually, Israel carried out one of its most intensive airstrikes in the Gaza Strip since the beginning of this escalation. It continued to target residential areas, main roads, main infrastructure, mainly in the west side of the Gaza City itself, but also the warplanes carried out other airstrikes in the north, in the south, in Khan Yunis, in Rafah Airport. In the middle areas, al-Burayj and al-Maghazi, the artillery was shelling, the gunboats kept shelling also from the seaside. Government buildings had been targeted, Ansar to be precise. Other buildings had been targeted, military sites, they say, residential buildings, empty lands and farmlands, some of them in very delicate and sensitive areas like behind a Shifa medical compound. People had to evacuate, but of course they can't because of the intensity of the air raids, which still continues. I can just say that during the past few minutes, things have become somehow relatively to calm down, but there is no safety here, and there are no guarantees, obviously. So clearly, nobody is willing to risk their lives by going to the open, because that's the most risky thing for any Palestinian in the Gaza enclave, which is to be in the open. But even being in buildings here had not been very helpful in terms of being targeted from the Israeli warplanes. Emergency, of course, they've already activated a contingency plan. It had already been activated ever since this escalation started, ever since the confrontations erupted here in the Gaza Strip, fueled, of course, by the confrontations in Jerusalem, Sheikh Jarrah, and the crackdown on worshippers in Al-Aqsa Mosque. But these days, things have been going haywire. It's a complete mayhem there in a Shifa hospital. Doctors are talking to us. They confirm that they are actually very anxious. They're very tired. They're very stressed. They don't know what to do. Of course, we all understand the scarcity of medical supplies and the lack of tools and equipment. Crossing borders had already been closed even before the escalation started last 8 days ago in Gaza. So obviously they're becoming more overwhelmed, and it's actually sickening, they say, the scenes they've been seeing, dead bodies of children and women, especially with the attack that happened last night on one of the most civilian areas in Gaza, Nasr and Rimal. We know it's an area that basically houses people from the middle class here in the Gaza Strip. Obviously, nobody had ever thought that such areas could be targeted. People usually flee to these areas, as we've said before. Right now, the main roads, the main infrastructure had been targeted once again by the Israeli warplanes, which basically makes it very difficult for ambulances, for rescuers, for people working in the front line to move between areas. Street number 8, street number 10, which are two of the main roads that connect the Gaza Strip governorates together, as well as Al-Rashid Street, had been obviously targeted by the Israeli F-16 in the last raid. So obviously things are here escalating at the moment, and we have no place to go, to be fair, to be accurate. There are no safe places in Gaza. So, for example, our building here had not received any warning, and we don't know if we're getting targeted or not. But just to be safe, we need to stay out of the windows. We can't go to the rooftop. We can't hold up cameras. We can't turn on spotlights, because that would actually look like a threat to the Israeli drones, at least, and we could get targeted any moment. So the safest route for us was to just get closer to the stairwell and stay there until things calm. Things had actually calmed during the past 20 minutes, let me say, but once again, there are no guarantees when it comes to the Israeli warplanes, especially these days. This has been absolutely, I can say, the worst military escalation Gaza had ever witnessed. I could say since the 2014 war, but I think even in the 2014 war, things for a few days had been, quite easier than these days.
استهداف لمنازل المدنيين. هذه رشقة بعيدة المدى. إذا كما نتابع مهند يبدو بأن هذه رشقة جديدة بعيدة المدى تطلق من قبل المقاومة الفلسطينية. تستمعون، رشقات تطلق من قبل المقاومة بشكل مكثف اتجاه إسرائيل، وابل من القذائف الصاروخية تطلق الآن من المنطقة الشمالية. عملية اعتراض نتابع أيضا. القبة الحديدية تحاول اعتراض بعض من تلك الصواريخ. إذا هكذا تبدو سماء غزة. يبدو بأننا نتابع مع تحول الجنب. نزلنا له نفس الطعم.
هذا الأذان الأول.
تحول الجنب. نزلنا له نفس الطعم.